And let me see here. Okay, well, I do have 1 o'clock exactly, so I will get started. As I mentioned, Sarah Anderson unfortunately is not able to join us today, but she did make a recording of her session that we will share today. And I am also recording this session, by the way, so I will share that with you at the end of this, at the end, or in this afternoon yet. Along with the recording link, I'll also send another link to the presentation slides that I shared earlier this morning, as well a link to the feedback form. If you could fill that out, that would be very helpful. This is our 6th and last installment of the Project Management for Libraries series. And we appreciate all of the support through our 6 sessions. We've gotten a lot of really good feedback about these, and we will look to reshaping this for possible use in the future. So look for some announcements maybe 6 months or so down the pike about some other options we may have in project management. So everyone has the capability of audio and video in this session, but I would ask that you keep those turned off during the while Sarah is speaking. If you have any questions, please use the chat while she's speaking to type them in. Otherwise, at the end of her session, you feel free to turn on your video and audio. If you would like to ask her questions by audio, you can do at that time. Otherwise, you can still use the chat if you prefer. Again, this session is being recorded, and I will be looking I'll be looking at your questions as we move through this session here. So with that in mind, I will go ahead and start our recording.
I am Sarah Anderson. I work at Unitex as a technical support person. Today we are here to talk about software and tools. So in terms of project management, I'm going to share my experience as lead of a team charged with finding a project management tool for the they offer you a way to visualize your project. So you can see your project in front of you instead of it being piece by piece. It can help with your organization and planning for your project. Also, it can help prioritize. Project management software also often has built-in communication tools you can use. And the notifications and things that I think are in pretty much all of the project management software helps communicate automatically. Project management software is also good for helping you manage your time or track your time if it's a project that requires time tracking. You can also use reporting and assessing tools that are part of the software to evaluate your progress or see how different pieces of a project worked or didn't work. So to get things started, going back to our project in 2017, what I first did when we started off looking for a tool was to Google project management software. And if you have done this, you will be with me in recognizing there is just an overwhelming amount of tools out there for project management. So it didn't help us a ton to do this Google search. So it might be a good place to start for you, but for us, it didn't really get us anywhere. Instead, what we did to get things started was we identified our goals. So we put out a survey to the team just to gauge everybody. We found that our goals for what we wanted to get out of the project management tool was we wanted to be better organized. We said that was very important for us. Prioritizing and team communication were also pretty important, and time management was something that we said was a goal, but it wasn't quite as important. It was more of a nice to improve with our tool. So this is definitely where I would recommend starting off, is just identifying where your goals are, what you want to get out of your tool. And next up, we identified our needs. So we came up with a list of non-negotiable items, just things that we really just needed to get out of the tool. And those were for us that the tool was cloud-based. We didn't want this to be software that we downloaded onto everyone's computer and people worked on individually. We wanted it to be something in the cloud where we are all seeing the same information. We wanted the tool to be easy to use. We didn't want it to be something that required a lot of training, that people could just get in there and start using right out of the gate. We also wanted adjustable permission settings. So Minitex is an organization of about 60 full-time people, and we wanted teams to be able to have projects that were private to each team. So it wouldn't be everyone in the whole organization could look into your project. It could be something you could work on privately. We also needed a full history. So this is important so you can look back on your past projects and see what worked, what didn't work. You can look back and use old projects as templates for new projects, so you don't have to reinvent the wheel every time you're starting something. We also said we needed the ability to export our data. And this was important to us because if we decided we didn't like our tool, we wanted to be able to own our data and take our data and move it elsewhere if need be. So your list of needs is probably going to be different, but it's good to identify what those are. Next up, we asked ourselves what is on our wish list. And for this, it was milestone markers, the ability to attach files to projects, task hierarchy, so you can make tasks, subtasks of other larger tasks. We wanted dashboards, and we wanted ways for people outside of Minitex to collaborate with us. This is just a small piece of everything that was on our wish list. We'll get to an opportunity for you to see more of our wish list later. After our wish list, we had some nice to have items that weren't deal breakers or things that anybody felt strongly about at the time. Might be different now, but on that was the Gantt Charts, the Kanban Boards. I'm going to say that wrong every time, so I'm just going to put it out there right now that I say that wrong. Those are the virtual sticky notes that we talked about quite a bit in other sessions as well as the Gantt Charts. We talked about those. And we wanted our tool to be mobile friendly. So there are obviously other considerations, including cost, usability, and integrations with other tools that you're already using that you want to be thinking about as you move forward. For cost, I did just want to point out that lots of the tools offer nonprofit discounts. Please be sure to ask about those, even if they don't have them advertised, because a lot of them don't, but they will offer nonprofit or educational discounts. So definitely ask. So here's the big crux of all of the work our team did. What this is a huge matrix. So across the top are all of our columns, and those are everything from our non-negotiables, our nice to haves, our wish list, the cost for different tools, all that is across the top, and it goes so much further than you can see here. if you want to take a look at what we did do, there's this quick little Z link, z.umn.edu/mtx matrix. You can check that out. The rows going down are all the different tools that we looked at. I think there were 30 tools that we filled out information for. And please keep in mind that this is from a project that we did in 2017. So some of the tools have changed a lot. And some of the things here that didn't check off on our boxes probably are checked off now. And some of these tools, even some that were in our top 5, one in our top 5, I should say, doesn't even exist anymore. So that being said, I think it's still a great place to start from if you could do something like this for your organization. So what we needed to do to get this information into our matrix was create free trial accounts. Scanning through the marketing websites you see is not enough to answer all of your questions. Please be mindful that the free trial accounts usually give you access to the highest and most expensive level of the tool. So they're probably going to give you access to features that you won't have at lower price points. So just be mindful of that. If you love certain things in the tool, you might not be able to access them at those lower price points. So after we had our free trial accounts, we did live demos of those top 5 tools for our evaluation team. After those, we identified 3 tools that we really liked. And at that time, we really used those free trials. We all were in there. We were working over the free trial period, some of those for as long as a month. And one thing I did want to point out here as well is if you need more time with those free trials, ask on that too. We found that companies are more than happy to extend the free trials because they want you to be purchasing their product. They want to make you happy. So if you need more time, just ask. So last up is just choosing the tool that's right for you. Up next, we're going to talk more in depth about some of those tools, but I did want to pause here and just see if you have any questions about our process. If you're watching this, probably Carla will have to answer, or no, you would have to just email me if you're watching this. So sanderson@umn.edu. If you have any questions, I'll get back to you when I'm off vacation. Let's see, going forward, we're going to jump right in to Kanban Boards. Again, I'm sure I'm saying that wrong. But what they do is they help visualize your project in a post-it-like environment. You are able to drag and drop your tasks from one board to another as you move through your project. So for this visual here, you're going to be able to move things from the idea phase into the to-do phase, doing and then done. Many project management tools have a built-in Kanban component, and all of the tools that I looked at to give you little brief things about today or link up to today as well do have a Kanban component. So the most popular of all is going to be Trello. Trello is entirely Kanban. That is where Trello shines. There is a lot of features here that will work awesome for you for your project management, and Trello does have a free version. So if you're interested in the Kanban project management, I would definitely recommend creating a Trello account and just trying it out. That's going to be your best way to get into anything, is just get in there, try it out, see what you like. In this example here, which is just a Trello template I used, you're going to have your brainstorm, to do, doing, and done. And like the card before, you're just going to be moving things through your project. You can add attachments here, make it look really beautiful with different pictures. There's a lot that Trello offers. And here's a list of other tools with those Kanban components. Like I said, everything I looked at for today has it. Here I also indicated which of the tools have free options. So if you're interested in those are listed here. All of the links here, if you're using the slide show, are to YouTube. We found in our work that those video channels for the different things are a great way to get in there and learn more about tools without actually having to create the trial accounts. I definitely still recommend the trial accounts, but the YouTube channels might be really helpful in addition to that. So check those out. So moving on from Kanban to Gantt charts. Gantt charts is another thing we've talked about in the previous series. Gantt charts are kind of like horizontal bar charts that show you your project in a timeline visual fashion. So they're going to be able to relate your tasks according to the order that they need to be completed. So for this picture, we see activity B. We've got our start to finish here. We can see visually that activity C, D, and lots of the other things following all are riding on activity B finishing. So if your activity B is going to get pushed out farther into the future, say activity B does not even finish until today, the rest of your whole project is going to get pushed out farther, probably past week 23, you can see at the top. So you're going to need to adjust things. That's how Gantt charts really are helpful, where you can show dependencies between your tasks and illustrate how changes in one area are going to impact your overall project schedule. So some of the benefits of using Gantt charts are they're going to help you better plan. So you can prioritize and assign tasks. So you can see that your team members are working on one thing at a time, not overlapping tasks that are going to be conflicting or making it difficult for your team members to prioritize. You're going to be able to visualize the whole project from just one place. Also, with that increased visibility, your teams are going to be able to see how the project is moving forward as a whole. Sometimes if you've got multiple teams working on the same project, they're going to be really focused in on one piece of the puzzle, not the project as a whole. So this can help to have them visualize how their work is impacting other teams, and just to see how everyone is working together. Also, it's going to give you increased flexibility. This is because when things do come up unexpectedly, it's going to be easier to make revisions to your project, because you're going to be able to see how that's all affecting the project as a whole. There aren't going to be all kinds of question marks coming up. It just is going to be much easier. So in an earlier session, Ashley did show us that she was using an Excel file for her Gantt chart. So this might feel a little bit familiar if you've seen that. But I did want to point out that you don't need special tools to be creating your Gantt charts. You can use your Google Sheets, Excel sheets. That all works awesome. But what you're not going to get in using this is that integrated conveniences that you're going to be offered by using the tool. So for example, in this Gantt chart here, we've got a start date of, this obviously in the past, December 12th. And if you need that start date to shift, you're going to have to change it there, and then you're going to have to change it in the bar charts over to the right as well. So it's a bit of more of a manual process. When you're using the tools, that's all just going to happen seamlessly. You'll change your start date, it will change everywhere else you need it to. So it will work for you. There might be better options. One of the tools that I think had it in our top 5 was Smartsheets. The link over on the side is to the YouTube introduction video for Smartsheets. Smartsheets is one that is designed heavily around the Gantt charts and really has that spreadsheet feel. So we really were happy with this product. The only reason that it got crossed off of our list was that it was a higher cost than some of the other options. But if you're interested, that might be a good one to check out. And they do offer some free Excel templates, which are awesome. It does have that Smartsheet branding on it, but you can easily delete that off if you want to download them. The link is there, or you can probably just Google Smartsheets templates and get to the same place. But just some good resources for you. And highlighted, this is the same list as we were looking at in the Kanban section. The highlighted tools do have the Gantt chart components. So those are the ones that match up here. And next up, I just wanted to talk a little bit about time tracking. Most of the tools do have time tracking built in, but I wanted to say that there are tools that are specifically for time tracking. So this is Clockify, which is a free tool. There is also a paid version for it. You can track your time, categorize your time by project, create reports, and see who worked on what in your team. Just so you know that these kind of things are out there. If that time tracking component is the most important piece for you, you might be well suited to use a tool like Clockify. So now we're getting kind of into the meat of the project management tools. So we're going to start talking about task management. There are different ways to visualize in the tools your task management. Almost all of them have a list view where you're just shown a list of your tasks, where if you've got dependencies, it'll show those. So you've got your list view, you've got your Kanban view, you've got your Gantt chart view, and you've also got usually a calendar view. So those are the different ways in the tools to visualize your tasks. Here, oh, and I did in the bottom right corner of these examples, try to put everywhere which tool we're looking at. So this one is Zoho Projects. And this is their classic view of the task management. And this is a list view. So you can see here, you've got a list of all your tasks, including subtasks. You've got a column that's going to give you your owner, the status of all of your tasks. So whether or not they're in progress, almost to completion, you can probably put in whatever you want for these different statuses. It's all very flexible in all the tools. You've got your start date and your priority. So it gives you a good view of everything you need to see. And I know our tool is Teamwork, and in Teamwork, you can hide or show different columns. So if the start date isn't important to you, you can hide that. And I'm guessing that's something similar that you could do here in Zoho Projects. That's what the list view looks like. Here in Monday.com is a good example of assigning your tasks. So in the projects, you're going to have a list of all of your team members. You can assign things to either the teams in Teamwork, our tool. You can just leave things as anyone, or you can assign them to particular people. Usually assigning them to particular people is going to fire off an email notification to that team member so that they'll know that tasks are assigned to them. And another cool thing, and this is Asana. I really like Asana. I think it's a good tool. That was another one in our top. The last one we were looking at Monday, that one I don't even think was a tool when we were going through this project. But a cool thing you can do is filter tasks for just what needs to be done on a particular day. So you could say you want to look at only tasks that are due today and that are high priority. So that's a super convenient way to see what needs to get done in the day and prioritize. I did want to just mention collaboration and communication, because like I said before, that's something that's built into pretty much all of the tools. But if you have things that are already working for you, like in our office, we are pretty heavy users of Slack, and we use the Google Apps Suite. Lots of the project management tools have integrations, so you can link together the tools that work for you. So just keep an eye out for that when you're looking for your tool. Also, I found this to be pretty helpful. It's a website called Cafera, and I'm guessing that there's some kind of proprietary something behind all this, where they're getting money from you looking for tools here. But you're able to add products and compare them pretty easily. So I just wanted to point out that this is an option where you can see the different price points for tools. And that's going to be the starting price. And some of these, like I said, do have free options that aren't included here, but you'll get little snippets of information and might be a good place to start. Okay, so now we're getting a little bit more in depth into some of the tools. And I think I just picked out 5 tools to highlight a little bit more closely from that list that we were looking at before. So Asana does offer a free version for up to 15 users and unlimited projects, tasks, and conversations. So that's a pretty good deal, because most of the tools don't offer unlimited projects. And the pro versions are affordable as well. And then there's always enterprise versions that are going to be more expensive. But here is a little look at Asana, and this is their task list, what that view looks like. All of them look awesome. I don't know how you would ever choose at this point, but that's going to be up to you. They do have a nice, as you can see, interface for mobile as well. And in Asana, I did find some templates, so it might be worth it to check out and see if you're deciding on that product. Just know that there's some templates that might offer you some time efficiencies if you can use them. And I did want to talk a little bit about automation. This is something that's offered in a lot of the different tools. Here is what Asana's looks like, and they call them rules. So you can use automation to simplify your workflows and say, if something happens, this should just automatically happen. Like in this case, if things are going to change from priority to P1, then you need to add Dave and Neil so that they know what's going on. So there's lots of ways you can build this kind of automation in. It can help you to reduce your errors. So you know Dave and Neil aren't going to get forgotten if this happens. They have no excuses, but it can also save you a lot of time. It's things that you're going to be doing repeatedly over and over. That can be really helpful. And we do use that in teamwork. It's called triggers. And I think I got a slide coming up with that. Another thing that Asana offers that I'm not sure is elsewhere is forms. So this could be really great for standardizing your intake for different processes. You just send people a link to a form and you get your information standardized, and it makes it easier for people requesting things from you too. So I just thought that was a cool feature for Asana. Next up, we've got Zoho Projects. This one I think was also in our tab. There is a free version for 3 users and 2 projects, which is less than Asana was. But their premium version is just $5 a user a month. So that's probably among the cheapest paid options you're gonna come across. Here is a list of their task view. Like I said, they all just look really pretty nice now. It's got your task owner and status. So very similar. And this might have had more column options off to the side too, where it got cropped off. But one thing we haven't really mentioned yet is milestones. I think all the tools probably have milestones, but you can get good views of those here. And this is what it looks like in Zoho Projects. Here is the Zoho Kanban view, which looks really nice. You can see you've got the classic plain and Kanban view where you can choose which tasks from your list. So you've got your task list in Kanban view. You can choose which task list items you want to put on here and visualize it. So in our teamwork, what it looks like, and I think it might be here too, is you can just drop down that task list thing from the top and drag your different tasks that aren't already in the Kanban view onto the different cards if you would want to do that. Or you could add tasks just from this view as well. So here's what the Gantt view looks like in Zoho Projects. Very simplified, and here is the calendar in Zoho view. This is something that is a filtered picture of a project calendar. So you can run filters on calendars. In Teamwork, as I said before, this is the tool that we use at Minitex. It has been since 2017. There is a free plan that includes 5 users and 2 projects. The Pro plan starts at $10 a user a month, and this one for sure does offer a nonprofit discount, so check into that. So, excuse me. Now we're going to get a little bit into things that we're looking at in Minitex, just so you can have an example of a project in process. So this is the dashboard view in Teamwork of our COVID-19 phase reopening plan. This was a project completed in the past, so there's not active tasks or anything, but those would show up here in this middle section. Dana Koshienda did make a really nice description of the project. So that is over in the left side. You can read through and see what the plan is. Let's see, we've got a breakdown over on the right that shows all of the different people involved in the project and what number of tasks they're working on. Just gives you a quick view of what's going on with your project. Here is an example of the Kanban board for that same project. Since that project was really split into different teams, we have here the cards are cards specific for each team. So the remote work team has a card, on-site team has a card, and the communication team has a card or column. You can add more columns. Here's that show backlog button that I was talking about. That's where you can see the different tasks from your list view and add them to your Kanban boards. Here's a different example of how we're using Kanban boards. And this one is a little bit more traditional in the sense that we've got kind of, we've got our ideas column. We've got our scheduled and upcoming. This is for office hours that our IT department does. And we've got office hours that have been completed. Our session type column is just like us keeping track of different basic ideas. So kind of a brainstorm there. We've got brainstorm, and then our actual work. I did want to point out that there's lots of like quick ways to make you even more productive in Teamwork. There's the quick add tasks where you can add tasks in this line. I'm kind of like a Excel columns. And there's a little language that you can use, putting square brackets around the the date or saying tomorrow gives it an assigned date. Doing that, Sarah assigns it. The exclamation marks make something high priority. So you can pretty quickly add in a lot of tasks at once. Here is an example of automation. So in Teamwork, it's called triggers. We've set this up if you're using your boards where your completed board is going, just moving it there is going to close the task. So stuff like that is just super simple. You just click the little add trigger button, and then for this case, it just is modify properties. I don't know, but you can make it so that moving things to completed assigns it to a different person or changes dates on things. It can pretty much do everything. So it really is valuable and a huge time saver. I also wanted to give you an example of milestones in Teamwork projects and what that looks like. So here in Teamwork, it codes things by colors. So we have completed the March 1st milestone of making a plan, and that is green because it is completed. We've got one late item. I did not do the prep work. That was due 12 days ago and it's not done. So that item is in red, and you can see it over on the calendar as well. Step 1, we got a today item that's showing up in blue, and things that are further out into the future are yellow. So it's kind of a really easy and convenient way to take a look at your project on the calendar with your major milestones. And a couple blank slides there. I also did want to put an okay out there for you to use tools that you already have. We, like I said, have an amazing project management tool in Teamwork, but I more often than not, probably in my own day-to-day work, which to me feels kind of project-y, I use my email. If I'm out and about and I'm thinking about something that I need to do for work, I oftentimes send myself an email just to put it out there and don't forget it. I rely heavily on my calendar and tasks on my calendar. That's probably my main go-to is if I have something I need to do, I put a task on my calendar and that's how I remember to get it done. You can use your documents. You can embed your documents into your project. That's a great way, or attach, I should say. That's a great way to keep yourself and your team organized. You can use your phone reminders. These are all project management tools that you're probably already using. So don't forget about those in your project management work. That is all I have prepared. So again, please feel free if you have any questions to send me, or probably Carla would be happy to field questions as well. She's pretty experienced with those Kanban boards, obviously, as well as all aspects of project management, tool use. My email is sanderson and that's sanderson with an ON at umn.edu. Please feel free to reach out and I'd be happy to try to answer any of your questions. So without any further taking up of your time, that is everything. And thank you so much.
Okay, I'm gonna stop this now.
I
And I'm gonna change my view here. So let's see. Yes, it's still recording. Okay. let me know if you have any questions. One quick thing from the last session on team-based projects, someone had asked if we had specifically zeroed in on specific methodologies to use when we were working on projects. If you were with us last time, I highlighted 3 different projects, and I had stated that they kind of fell into place naturally, and that really isn't true. In some aspects, some components of those methodologies did fall into place with our projects. But really, especially the example of the Elm RFP and the software migration projects, we really attempted to use specific methodologies at different points in those projects. We we did highlight and say we are going to use the agile method for the Elm RFP in the production phase of that project, because we wanted to make sure that we knew what tasks folks were working on. We wanted to make sure that they were doing okay with the tasks that they were working on. If they had any difficulty or felt like they were falling behind in any of those tasks, we wanted to stay up to date with them. We identified a 2-week work cycle that we were going to check in with all members of the project, so that we did maintain our timeline. We had a very strict timeline to work with, and so we did identify at the very beginning that we needed to make sure that this project moves along at the proper pace that we identified in the Gantt chart. And so we specifically used the agile method to make sure that we kept on task. Outside of that, if anybody has any questions about software tools, please feel free to ask or put them in your chat box. Also, I would like to know, since this is our last session together, if you have any questions about challenges or successes that you've had with projects that you would like to share or communicate with. Please feel free to talk about those as well. I'm not seeing any questions coming into the chat box. In my email later today with the recording link, I'll also share the link, that Z-link that Sarah identified in her Google Slides on the template that we used when we were exploring different software tools, and how we identified must-haves or non-negotiables, needs, requireds, wish lists, nice-to-haves. Has anybody had any experience working with any tools? Free tools or subscription-based tools? Nothing to share on that. Okay, well, I think I will, oh, we got one. Out of those, I've used Trello. I thought it was quick and easy to learn and useful. Yep, thanks, Juliana. I have used Trello and for many years, and I would agree. I've used it individually. I have my own a free version of it, and I've used it for many different projects. I've used it for personal projects, and then I was also able to. A couple of years ago, I was on a planning committee for a conference, and I was able to connect up with my free version. I was able to connect up with other planning committee members to use Trello for a task list and Kanban list for our planning committee. And Francis states, our consortium uses Trello for reporting e-resources access issues. Some seems to work well. Good. Amy states, to what extent do you use these tools? Just for a specific project or to manage daily individual work as well? I can see the benefits of using special software, but it also feels like one more thing. So I can see how I just defaulted to email, Google Calendar, Post-it notes. I use it not on a daily, I use my resources, my tools, not on a daily basis, but I do use them for specific projects, whatever the project might be. Maybe it's creating and defining a personal goal that I want to craft for my performance review, which I'm going through right now. But it is going to be for a specific project. I will use that either individually on my own to hone it through, identify the task lists, or just to keep on track with the different pieces. I've used it in collaboration with other people on specific projects. So maybe not in a daily use, but on a regular use. And Amanda states, I've used Trello and I mainly use it for myself. Yes. I tried to get a team board going once and failed at getting others to persist in using it. I would say, Amanda, don't give up yet. Maybe Trello wasn't the tool that worked or connected with others, but again, it's that communication component that is the key piece when you're working with teams. So find a communication component that works for everyone. And then I hope I'm pronouncing this right. I'm going to butcher it. Hangu Liu. I apologize. In terms of Trello, so output data is not hard, right? A Trello is what you put into it. And it's everything you put into it. There is really no I guess I've never used it really for output data. It's my keep it on track board and ideas board. I hope I read your thought correctly. And Trish says, having learned more about Gantt charts, I now realize I have been creating my own Gantts in Excel most of my life to organize myself. Very good. I have not used Excel or Google Sheets for Gantt charts. I tried once, but I just need the automation components with Gantt charts for me. Otherwise, it's just too much tinkering and I will miss things. But way to go, Trish. And Francis states, regarding Amanda's comment, me too, my boss was not on board. I'm going to try again after this workshop. Great. Stacy states, I actually have a way I use EndNote to track resources in my own notes along with other tools, and I teach it to students too. I add in Trello, Padlet, and Microsoft Teams. Awesome. Padlet I've never heard of, but interesting. I can see how EndNote can be useful for tracking retaining your own notes and tracking resources. Yes, I can see that. And Janice states, a person I worked with used Trello for providing work direction tasks to students' work. Yes, that I can see work. Stacy states, I'm working on a workshop for students on how the best tools for visual bookmarking and organizing the packages that give you the most. Ah, so the first thought again is Trello for that, Stacy, and then EndNote might actually work for that as well. See what might be responsive for your students, what they might think might be helpful. Amanda states, I tried asking one of the members of the team how they keep track of their to-do list, and reply I got basically, I keep track of it in my head. Deep sigh. I'm right there with you. Yeah, you got to kind of extract that and pull that out. If it's in a team based, it can't stay in your head. It's got to be shared, and it's got to be communicated. Stacy adds, I will be adding in Gantt charts in the mix. I would like to try the visual whiteboards like mural. That's an interesting one too. I wonder if that's that sounds like it might be a more collaborative piece. I like that thought. Thanks, Stacy. All right. Anything else that you want to share, or other questions that you might have? It can be collaborative or individual. I like the visual post-its. Yeah. Yes. Virtual post-its are so helpful. So any tool that offers that component, and most of them do now, I think is really helpful. I like the options that Sarah provided in her presentation on looking at YouTube to get more information about the different software tools, and inquiring with other questions that you might have that you're not finding from a vendor's site. And the extension of those trials, I know that those 30-day trials or 15-day trials are just not long enough for me sometimes. And I've asked for extensions on those, and they've been eager to comply with those, any vendor that I've talked to. All right, I think we'll wrap it up here. You look for my email later this afternoon with the recording link when it becomes available. I'll also send out the handout on that template that Sarah shared, and also the link for the feedback form. Thank you all for your feedback up to this point. It's been very helpful. So have a great afternoon and enjoy your weekend. Thank you, everyone.